Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of CAOverwatch. We are finally back, given the whole COVID situation. I know we were back last week with one of the interviews with GM of the Toronto Ultra, Dominique. Again, big thanks to her for coming out and spending the time to talk to us. If you guys are interested in that, check out the channel. It's on there.
Definitely.
So we were technically back last week, but this is the first time we're actually doing our bread and butter, if you will, where we get to talk about the Toronto Defiant, talk about the matches, preview the upcoming matches, and then talk about some transactions, because actually there's been a lot of news. I wanted to come back sooner. It was just given my current living situation, I was unable to, which is fine. But here we are. Nevertheless,
we're good to go.
We're back, better than ever. Let's just jump right into
better
it.
Than ever.
So Chris,
worse than ever. Wait, what?
No. So it's been about a month since we last did one of these, and since then, we've had some wins, some losses. I believe since then we lost to. Sorry, we beat the Washington Justice. Yeah, you can continue.
Let's just go over this. We beat the Boston Uprising.
Yes.
Beat Washington Justice.
Thank God.
Lost the Houston Outlaws for a second time.
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. And then beat Boston Uprising again, and then lost the Gladiators.
Okay, so in terms of, I don't want to go too much on the previous 3 or 4, because at this point it's just old news. I'm not going to break down the first game against the Boston Uprising. Even though I'm a little bit concerned, we have yet to 3-0 them. We're the only team that hasn't won a game 3-0 yet, which is a little triggering. So the biggest takeaways for me was I was glad we beat the teams that we should beat, i.e. the Boston Uprising and the Washington Justice, 2 of the worst teams in the league. With that being said, it's pretty disappointing. Oh, sorry, and we also lost to the teams I think we should have lost to, like the Gladiators. But it was really disappointing that we couldn't take out that win against the Houston Outlaws, because I actually think we got reverse swept, right? Where we went up 2-0.
We got reverse swept, pretty much. We did. I was first reverse sweep in history. Yeah,
exactly. If it was we beat Boston, we beat Washington, which actually, when that game had happened, there was a little bit of a discrepancy. I think even a lot of the analysts had picked Washington to beat us. So I was feeling good about the team. And then we were up 2-0. I was like, man, a dominant 3-0 over the Houston Outlaws would look really good for this team. And then we got reverse swept. Possibly the worst. I just remember Dante switched to Tracer, and we just can't hang on the Tracer pick with 4 in the lineup. Yeah, I mean, with logic, sure, but that's unfortunate. And then we come back and we beat Boston, which was nice. And then that's all I have to say about that. I don't know about you. I want to talk about the Glads, but that's the most recent one. But if you have any more thoughts about those previous games, now is the time to
all I want to say is that we've beaten poor teams, and I want to see us play a mid to lower ranking team that's above us, apart from Outlaws. I want to see us play Spitfire.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, we get to see that next weekend when we play the San Francisco Shock. without Sinatra, maybe. No.
Doesn't
actually,
matter.
But the week after the San Francisco would be the LA Valiant. I'm excited for that game, but we're not there yet.
I am.
Okay, but I agree. I agree. It was either really good teams or really poor teams, or the Houston Outlaws. So the last game that we just played, the LA Gladiators. Give me your just initial thoughts on how you thought that match went.
Okay, so it was very confusing for me. I thought we could have done a lot better. Yeah. What I want to talk about, but I'll let you go give your synopsis first, is why our first point holds were so good. And then after that, we broke down in a couple of the maps. So I think it'd be good to talk about that. And talk about the elephant in the room, which is Roky, which we can't really blame for anything. But
I was gonna say, I can get more thoughts on Roky. Give me your thoughts on why the first hold seemed to be stronger than the rest of the maps, because I agree there was 2 maps where we were a team fight away from full holding them on first point, and then it didn't work, and they just snowballed it for the rest of the entire. It was we were almost full held them. If we win that one team fight, we get a full hold. But we don't, and then we don't win another team fight for the rest of the map. So give me your thoughts on that, and then I can kind of go into because I have some thoughts on Roky.
Yeah, so if I could try and lose my best logic possible, my thoughts for them doing well on first point is winning the poke war early on to build good ult economy, and then using that ult economy to win the initial fights that get them to that last crucial fight.
Yeah.
And then either they don't have the ult economy to win that last crucial fight, or they lose that last crucial fight while blowing their ult economy, and then they're kind of losing the ult economy throughout the rest of the match, and that's why they get rolled through the rest of it.
Yeah.
Because if I think about it, it looked like when we were winning matches, they were using alts, but they're using a little too many.
Yeah.
In my opinion. We could probably go back through the tape and see if whether or not that's true. But I think they're using a little too many ults to win those fights, and it was catching the Glads off guard. Yeah. And then once they broke through, we couldn't deal with that economy anymore. Yeah, the best way I think I can describe it.
I think part of it too is Surefour is somebody who he's a better player when he's able to get set up, and especially on like the first points for like hybrid maps and stuff like that. It's usually a little bit more like defender. I don't know if it's defender focus is the right way to put it, but I actually think it becomes more defender focus as it moves on. The point I was just trying to make is he could take those off angles a little bit better. I think part of it could be like a mental game that maybe we could break down. It was a really weird situation because I even thought like there was a couple of times where I was surprised at how much we got snowballed. There was some that made sense to me, like Paris and stuff like that, where I was like, okay, like I expected that to happen.
Paris.
And even the final map was the Rialto, I believe. Was it Rialto? The final map, whichever the final map was that I kind of saw that one coming. I think it was Rialto.
It was Rialto, and the worst part was that I think they hadn't won Rialto yet. There was one map where Glads had not won like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Or something. They hadn't won a hybrid and we lost.
Hybrid would have been Eichenwald, Eichenwald, which that one I was surprised that we couldn't win that like bridge setup at the very end of the first point of the hybrid of the second stage of that map, which I really expected us to take over. But yeah, like I didn't really break down the tape in terms of like that specific reason why we were able to sort of come back from that. I think part of it might have just been mental. I think part of it's also like the Glads, I think, are just a better team. Like when you have stuff like with Eichenwald where it's like you can hold the first point, or even Rialto where you can kind of like run that part of it's the adaptation too. Like we came up with some interesting strats. Like we had the soldier on Rialto at the beginning, and then the Glads like once they're able to break that, once they're able to figure it out and adapt, then you just were like, oh, they're the better team and they just won. So we tried to like play a little bit of mind games and it worked when it worked. And then as soon as they were able to adapt and counter it, it just sort of snowballed and we just like weren't good enough to kind of pick it back up, which is like unfortunate, but also like, I mean, it's fair. I actually rate the Gladiators pretty highly. Like I was at least happy that we took a map off them. Moving into like the Roky aspect of this, because I just want to get this thing going. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. So not only like, I want to harp on this team a little bit, but not only are we like, not only are the Gladiators a really good team, and not only do we have a new main support making his, I know he played last year, but he's new for this team. He's making his debut against arguably a top 5 team on a roster that doesn't speak his language outside of Kruise. He also can't even play the hero he's known to play for, which is Lucio, and he's got a force to flex over to the Baptiste. And Kruise can't play Ana. I think it was just a perfect storm as like, honestly, I'm happy we got one map. Like Roky is not known for his Baptiste. Kruise is not known for his Zenyatta. He's definitely known for his Ana. So I actually think we won every map where Roky got to play the Lucio. He got to play the Lucio on Koth, which we won, and he got to play the Lucio on First Point Paris, which we also won. So, and it doesn't even, like, team communication is going to be an issue there. So I don't want to harp on it too much. Like, obviously, I think he was a weak point of the team in that respect. But that's not to knock him whatsoever. I think he did a really good job given the circumstances that he was thrust into, essentially. I think different meta potentially. Lucio Ana, he could have performed a lot better.
Yeah, they made it a lot closer.
Worst team, he could have performed a lot better. Even like Baptiste Ana, where Kruise maybe could have carried a little bit more on the Ana, but it was just a really unfortunate meta situation and everything. So I don't blame him too much.
I also do want to note that I think one of the main issues was his positioning.
Yeah.
I think that we saw a lot of the time Roky was the first picked. And as a support, when you're typically playing a little bit safer compared to DPS, compared to your more aggro tanks like Beast, then if he's being the first one picked, it's a combination of them having a DPS, but he's also out of position. Yeah. Well, I don't think he was rotating as well. And
which could easily be a communication thing, right? Maybe they call it and it takes them a split second to, realize it or whatever. Like, I was happy to see him.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, there was definitely moments where I was like, man, had Kruise been able to play that game, like 3-2, or potentially we could have won it. Who knows? Like, I don't want to theorize about that because Kruise hasn't scrimmed at all, but
that's the thing. I haven't scrimmed. That's why I wouldn't have done better.
Yeah, so I don't want to knock on Roky too much. I think it was an unfortunate situation because even like the first map when he got to play Lucio, I actually thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, I thought he looked pretty good too.
And
And
relatively
we all
speaking.
know that the Roky fan base and all the Roky
Loved
lovers
it.
on Twitter were loving it too.
Having a field day,
They're
exactly, which is always
absolutely
cool to see.
loving
I mean, I support that and respect it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Defiant kept him, I think, into this year was for that reason. So it was nice that we got to
He has
see
a
him have
brand.
some play time. It's unfortunate that it went the way it went, but I think a lot of the players were very supportive of him afterwards, and rightfully so. So with that out of the way, let's get into previewing next week's game because it should be a quick one.
It's a quick one. Ooh, we're gonna get slapped by Striker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to
Yeah.
say. I don't think anyone's going to pick the Toronto Defiant. I can't really give win conditions for the Toronto Defiant because even though Sinatra retired, which would be the only potential win condition, Rascal, Striker, Architect, and their DPS is so stacked. They got
Super
a really good read on the meta. Ryan's banned, so maybe they might run
Choi.
Smurf on Orisa, but they still got Choyobin on this. I think the team's just too good. I think it would really we'd have to come out with some insane strategy that they've never seen before, and we've also somehow managed to master in order for this to work.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna point out really quickly. Win condition is having a great strategy. I think,
which is not a strength. I mean, to be honest,
I know it really isn't. What I think, this is just I could be talking to my ass here, but if we were to criticize Shock for anything, I think it's that they have a lot of individual talent, but they haven't been able to pull it as cleanly together as a team as other teams have.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we can work the teamwork aspect better than they can by coming up with something crazy, then we can maybe pull something out of our butts.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I'm just saying if there was any way possible.
Yeah. And I think
then
it's possible only because we might be able to give a different look, which kind of goes into our neck. Because I think both of us are in agreement they're going to lose, unfortunately. I mean, hey, if we can take a mat, that'd be great. And I mean, I'm always down to be surprised about trying to find upset. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we took Philly to 5, so who knows?
I would be surprised by 3-2 for Shock. I'd be surprised by anything close.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
If there's 100% on control and they're fighting for that overtime, I'd be like, wow.
Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is at this point, I want to see us do something different. I think that this might be the time to play a Surefour on May, Logics on McCree/Widow. Do you know what I mean? Try to hit him with something they haven't seen before. Because I don't want to see Surefour on Tracer. I love Surefour. I think he's a great player. I think he has heroes he's really good at. And in the Overwatch League at this point, Tracer's not one of them. If you want to run Tracer, which I don't think we will because Brigitte is banned, so it's an irrelevant point. But I'd like to see a Surefour play a May, and then Logics play McCree Widow potentially could swap over, or maybe Surefour tries out the Echo, or even I know it never really worked, and this is why I brought this up into the next point. I want to maybe give Agility's Logics another shot, and I know I was a pretty big proponent of never having Surefour not in the lineup, but we've seen recently that actually Agilities and Logics have been able to pull out some wins, even the times where we've lost 3-1 or 3-2. Usually one of those wins comes from the control map. I understand there's reasons behind it. It's more brawly. It's a little bit more, RNG, if you want to call it that, respect. But part of that is also we get to play Logics and Agilities, who are, I would consider, more mechanically skilled players other than Surefour. Surefour's a little bit more of the mind games, a little bit of a smarter player, more concise. And I think one of the reasons why we could never run those two in the past was simply because when you had Logics and Agilities in the lineup, you lost that leadership, that shot calling ability, that decisiveness that a player like Surefour brings. That I think we needed him for that reason. But now with the new pickup of Kruise, obviously Kellex retired, Kruise comes in the lineup. I wonder if part of the reason we picked him up specifically as a main support, because I agree that we needed an upgrade in the main support position.
Yeah.
I was very vocal about us needing an upgrade in the main support position. I think that was our weakest one by far. One of the benefits of Kruise specifically, outside of some other ones, is while he might not be the most mechanically gifted main support in the league, which I actually kind of want us to see get a little bit more mechanical skill, very good leadership figure, very vocal shot caller, very decisive player. I wonder if having him in the lineup might actually allow us to run more Logics and Agilities combinations, or at the very least, put less of that pressure off of Surefour and allow him to just focus more on clicking heads and playing the DPS role.
Yeah, I would actually, in terms of you wanting to have more mechanical skilled support, I'd actually disagree. I feel like if we were to choose between a player with more mechanical skill and less leadership, slash crafty ultracky, and somebody with more leadership and less mechanical skill, I'd pick the more leadership one.
Right,
I feel like Kruise is a support that already has a good amount of mechanical skill.
I agree with that.
And we have obviously Logic's Logic's great mechanical skill too.
Yeah.
But we also lost Fefe, which is somebody who has a great amount of leadership in himself. So we need to make up for that leadership within the team aspect where we can.
That's a good point. No, I agree with that. You're right. I kind of forgot that we had actually, this something we didn't even mention, and that was even our show notes was Fefe retired. Yeah. Again, I think coaching potentially has been an issue for this team. So in that respect, like, I don't know, but obviously you never want to see like a leadership figure like Fefe. I've heard nothing but good things about him as a person, and his ability to like bring up morale and his ability to like keep players on schedule. Obviously, that would have been a little bit more important had there been homestands and traveling and whatnot. So with everyone being at home, I understand that sort of role dwindled a little bit. I'm really excited to see Kruise play. Again, I all the respect to Kellex and what he was able to do for on the stage, and he had some good games, but without being too disrespectful, like our main support play was not the best. I think if you go to the stats lab right now and you look at his like Lucio and Brigida play throughout the year, it's been more than below average.
Yeah.
And maybe there's reasons behind that I don't know. Maybe like the way that we play, the main support's a very defensive oriented, but even still his getting picked first is pretty high in relation to other main supports. So I think that while Kruise isn't going to take the league by storm and become a top 5 main support in the league, by no means do I think that. I think he's absolutely an upgrade. I think that he's also, like you said, we need that leadership, we need that decisiveness. So I think he's an upgrade in that respect too. And I'm really excited to see how the team looks with Kruise in the lineup. My one concern slightly would be I hope he didn't. Like, I don't know how we could afford it. Like, I don't know if we replaced Kellex's contract with Kruise's contract because he retired. I don't know what the transfer fee was like. With the whole COVID situation, I'm not sure how that really worked. Obviously, a lot of teams I can't see them making a ton of money, especially with the homestands being canceled. So I don't really know the financials behind it. And if this was like Defiant's big play to like make a playoff push, become a top 6 team, I don't know if Kruise was the right player for that. So I hope he didn't like break the bank, because I don't know if it's that kind of move. But in terms of just like a solid player who can improve the team, help with the team leadership, help with the shot calling, I really like the pickup.
Yeah, I think they have room. Like I want to remember, like they made a lot, or they saved a lot off of picking up Kellex agilities in the off season. They have a quite small roster in the first place anyway.
Yep, that's a good point.
So I think they have a little room there. So I'm hoping that something happened where they just kind of like agree with Kellex to pay a part of his contract out and leave the rest on the table, and then use that for the rest of Kruise's contract.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's something I don't know. I mean, we'd have to ask people in the organization, but I don't know if we'll ever know. But that's just one of my concerns. Other than that, I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. So anything else to say about the Shock or the Kellex transaction?
No. Let's move on to our next topic. Who should be playing Echo?
Yes. So the reason we bring this up is because I think a lot of people's initial conversations were Surefour is going to be playing Echo. I actually had the position of it would be agilities. I know we disagreed on that going in to the LA Gladiators game. After seeing it, I think there's still a debate over whether or not you want to see Surefour or agilities on the hero. Personally, I'm of the position that I actually like agilities on it. I think Echo's a pretty high mechanically skilled character. I understand that like Surefour's flexibility and his ability to go over to tanks, or his ability to read the situation and be like, this ultimate would work really well in this situation, whereas maybe in this situation I'd want to copy this character. I think that has Surefour written all over it. But I do think that a lot of like Echo's kit sort of mimics sort of like a Genji / Pharah-ish, where you like kind of dive the back line, then you escape out quickly. It's a very high movement ability hero. The right click is a little bit like Shuriken's, I guess, if I had to like compare it to something. Obviously, the verticality lends itself very much to Pharah. And we saw Julius play tank at the World Cup, so he could do it. I know he can play as Orisa. So I think it's a pretty high mechanically skilled hero, and for that reason, I think Agility should be playing it.
Yeah, that's why I've changed my camps. I think I agree with you. And I agree, not because more or less of what Surefour and Agilities can do. I agree of like what it takes to play Echo, I personally I think she's requires more mechanical skill than like strategy skill.
Yeah.
Like for me, your primary, secondary, like those fires, they make sense. They make sense from a strategy point, even from a person like me who doesn't understand Overwatch strategy as well as the pros do, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, you have your primary fire, you beam down shields and people when they're at half health.
Yeah.
Those stickies are for good burst damage, and good splash damage. So I feel like that's kind of like doesn't require a genius to know. And if you can put somebody who already has a mechanical skill and enough strategy skill to match a player that doesn't or a hero that needs less strategy skill, then it's an obvious choice to put agilities on.
Yeah, and the last thing I will say is the one concern I think some people brought up was that agilities, I think, didn't look that great on Echo in the first week and kind of got outplayed by Mira a little bit. But to that, I would just say I actually don't think agilities is a really good player in the respect of, like, new hero comes out, boom, I mastered it. You kind of saw in the World Cup, and I don't like using the World Cup too much, but like sometimes it makes the point. When he had to play Doomfist, he didn't look very good. I remember him getting like 1v1 by Facilities and losing. Like consistently, I was like, no, Muffin's the off tank. It was Facility for the Dutch. He also didn't play. He's Canadian. So I remember being like, oh man, I'm a little bit disappointed with Agility's Doomfist. I thought his Genji skills would transfer over to Doomfist. Like that just made sense to me. But then I think he's the kind of player where you give him a couple weeks to like really practice on the hero. Like you saw his Doomfist disappointing in the World Cup. And then all of a sudden he comes in the Overwatch League, and I think he's one of the best Doomfists in the entire league, if not from he's one of the better ones at least. He's at least above average.
He's one of the better ones.
Yeah, he's one of the better ones. So I think he is one of those players who like maybe he doesn't jump off the page initially. Like we even saw his May. His May was like pretty bad when the league first started. His May was like pretty bad. I actually think his May's improved a decent amount. He still overextends sometimes, but his walls have looked a lot better. He can still frag out. His right clicks look good. He's building ults pretty quickly. His ults have slightly improved, but his walls especially have really improved. So I do think he's one of those players who you give him enough time, and I think he will be able to pop off in the hero.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also I think like that means his strategy skills are getting better too. Like the walls, like that doesn't take mechanical skill.
No, that's all in game. Yeah, and he's still young. I think Agilities is going to be a really good player. So I like to see. I like to see him too. So with that out of the way, what's next? We have one more topic to discuss, or is that what we're?
I think we wanted to end it here. We want to thank everybody for listening again. And visit us on our socials: Instagram, CAOverwatch.
As always.
You're probably gonna find there, and Twitter, YouTube. You can probably found us through Twitter anyway. But what we'd like to leave you on is a quick moment of silence for the Vancouver Titans. Man, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You brought us a second place grand finals appearance last year, and for that we'll never forget it. So a moment of silence.
Without further ado.